JD Talking Sports is here. We're trying to get him go live with. Oh, and there he is in the flesh.
Sorry, some technical difficulties.
Mr. Met, you never have to apologize for anything. Mr. Met is here. Mr. Met.
I look a little. It's less impressive when I don't have a giant.
Let me tell you, you are one good-looking man. You are one good-looking man. So don't you sell yourself short there.
Just, minus the stitches around my head.
What happened? The stitches. Yeah. See, you see, mascot humor. I like it. I almost went with it. I really thought you had wow. This is incredible. Okay, now it's kind of interesting how this all happened. So you work for this company. What's the company you do up usually up in Rye, New York? Now what's that?
Yeah, so it's a company that I'm hired. It's for Morgan Stanley. It's for training financial advisors at Morgan Stanley, and I'm hired from an outside company that hires actors and role players and things like that to help with these live role plays to train these financial advisors. So continue your story. That's how I met your friend.
Okay, now you've been so. You met, and that's how I met. And then he tells me that you're doing this thing, and everybody should tell something about themselves that no one else knows. And he goes, dude, this guy was Mr. Met. And I said, hey, would you do my friend has a podcast? Would you do it? I was like, oh my God. Now, so let's backtrack. How did you become Mr. Met? And you're a huge Met fan, it sounds like, from all the pictures I see.
I couldn't have been Mr. Met for all those many years without being a huge Mets fan, because unfortunately you're surrounded by a lot of Mets baseball, and most of it, as Mets fans know, is not always good baseball. So I grew up a giant Mets fan. I'm from Long Island, born and raised. I think I first went to a Met game for the first time in like 82, 83, something like that, at Chase Stadium. Grew up rooting for them, obviously 86 series. I thought that was sort of the way it was always going to be. I was 10 years old when they won, and I unfortunately thought that that's what life as a Mets fan was going to be like. Little did I know that was just the pinnacle, and we never quite reached that again, at least not yet. So big Mets fan, went to college in the 90s.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Syracuse.
Oh, nice. Orangeman. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so I keep the colors blue and orange are my colors, all my teams.
Right. And you had a lot of adversity with that school, too. I remember 87, Keith Smart still destroys me to this day.
I was there in the Donovan McNabb years.
Nice.
In the John Wallace years.
Yes.
So, my sophomore year, they went to the final game and lost. So that was
at Brendan Byrne Arena against Kentucky.
Yeah, that was it. So, yeah. So that was, so big college sports fan in the 90s. Then I graduated from college in 98. And as any, good actor does, they look for work, right? Some of it is related to actual acting, and some of it is sort of a side project. And I saw an ad, as I said, I'm from Long Island. So I saw an ad in Newsday at the time, and the Mets were hiring, quote, entertainers. And I didn't know what that was, but I knew that I, am a huge Mets fan. I'm an actor. Maybe there's some kind of some space in there that would fit me. So I applied, and I originally got the job in the 99 season to be a member of the Pepsi Party Patrol, which I believe are now the City Perk Patrol. I think sponsorship has changed everything.
Okay.
So I was hired to be on the Pepsi Party Patrol in the 99 season, and part of the responsibilities, you're hosting features on the big screen, and you're shooting T-shirts into the stands, and you're carrying Mr. Met's Sharpie everywhere he goes. So I was escorting. We have a term in the industry called mascorting. So I was a mascort.
Escort.
Exactly.
Very
so
nice.
So I was around Mr. Met all the time, and about halfway through that season, I guess the Mets were looking to replace the guy who was Mr. Met at the time. And they got to know my personality a little bit, not in a costume, but just as me. I guess they trusted that I was enough of a Mets fan to carry the burden of the gigantic head. And they asked me to fill in a couple of events here and there. And the first event that I ended up doing was a Boy Scout dinner at Terrace on the Park, which is in Corona, Flushing area.
Okay.
Yeah. So just like sight unseen, they sent me with this sweaty costume that someone had worn earlier that day. to just perform and to greet, the masses. So I went there and I snuck into a public restroom and kind of, barged the door shut so no one could enter while I changed. And I put on the costume and kind of figured it out on the fly. And I did this Boy Scout dinner and I finished and I left and I was the sweatiest I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, he's very sweaty, right?
Very, very sweaty. Yes. Sweatier than you could possibly imagine.
Okay. So, wow.
The Mets asked me how it went, and I said, yeah, it was insane and it was weird and I couldn't see anything, but I somehow enjoyed it. And at 23 years old, and they're like, you want to keep doing this? I said, yeah, why not? And then, couple of appearances became working the games at the end of that 99 season. And then I stayed on and I became the primary performer after that.
So how many was every home game? Every game plus appearances.
81 home games. I mean, so in 99, when I started, it was fewer events, fewer appearances. Obviously, there were all the home games. As it went on through the years, and I take maybe a little bit of credit for this, the character became more and more popular. And aside from the games, you're working, things for the organization, whether they're marketing events or, promotional things.
Or the picture I have is from a Citibank commercial.
Yeah. So they were sending me out to do commercials and stuff. And then you would do private parties. People would book Mr. Met for their weddings and for their bar mitzvahs and for their backyard barbecues and everything.
Weddings? Bar mitzvahs, barbecues. So, wow. So it turned into a whole thing. So, yeah. So I'm backing up a little because you got me. I looked you up on IMDb and I tried to find because there is a Mac. Do you have a different name, a SAG name? Is there a Matt Golden? Because are there Matt Goldens out there? Is what I wanted to say.
I'm Matt Golden in SAG as well. Yeah.
So did you work before you went to college? Were you acting? Did you know you wanted to be an actor younger? Were you acting like growing up? What kind of stuff was that?
Growing up on Long Island, it was close proximity to Manhattan. So as a kid, when I was 11, 12 years old, I used to commute into the city and audition for commercials and TV shows and movies and plays and everything you can imagine, and to varying levels of success or non-success. But I did get my card when I was like 11 years old. You
got your SAG card. What did you get your SAG card at 11?
So I did a commercial. I did a bunch of commercials, but the one that got me my SAG card was a local commercial that was shown in, I guess, in the Midwest or in farming country, where it was some kind of parasite product that they would use for pigs and swine. So I was like this 11-year-old kid who was being given his first piglet, to take care of his farm in the future. And
I need that commercial. I'm going to need to see that. Do you have it?
Yeah, of course I have it. I have a VHS 80s, and then I digitize it, and now it's for public consumption. I mean, no, I don't know if the product exists anymore, but
you see, my claim to fame is I was in a what was the dating show where they had the bubbles. That was my claim to fame in all my life. Do you remember that dating show? With the bubbles, the guy sent you wanted a date, and there was the bubbles. People still see it to this day. I can't. I'm blanking.
Love Connection. I'm trying to think of
not Love Connection. Yeah, Blind Date. Remember Blind Date? The TV show Blind Date.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It was on 3:00 in the morning. People was like, I think I saw you on television.
We've all watched Blind Date at 3 in the morning in the 90s.
Yes. So you commercials and TV, any film you did as growing up? Any films?
Just like bit things, nothing notable, But yeah, I kind of did a couple of jobs here and there, and then did a lot of plays and theater, and did the theater thing in college as well as playing as much, sports as best I could. Of course, at a certain point you have to choose, and I was better in theater than I was in sports.
What sports? What sports did you play?
What did I play?
Yeah.
I was a huge baseball fan, so I always played baseball.
What position? What position? What was your position?
It varied. At one point, I kind of started out with second base. I was a little bit afraid of the ball, so like fielding grounders was, I would turn my head. So then I started playing the outfield a little bit, and now I'm currently, not at the moment, but I play in a league in Central Park, a softball league. So I'm trying to relive glory days.
Is that the Actors League, or is that a different?
It's an Actors League. There's like so many. Every day is the week in Central Park. They have different leagues, so it is a performing arts league. Yeah. Yeah,
I get a little Stanley Tucci vibe from you. A little Stanley Tucci.
Never heard that, but okay, I'll take it.